And the same is true of the hysterical lies about how there is no partner. There simply is no other way to take over land where you're not wanted. So it's sensible. And for the same reasons, similar reasons, Israel has consistently preferred expansion to security. That's been particularly evident since 1971, when Israel made a really fateful decision, I think, backed by Henry Kissinger, namely the decision to reject the offer of a full peace treaty by President Sadat of Egypt, which incidentally offered nothing to the Palestinians. It's an agreement that Israel and the United States were compelled to accept at Camp David 8 years later. It's after a major war, which was a near disaster for Israel and immense suffering. Now that goes down in history as a wonderful achievement of U.S. Involvement in bringing peace. In fact, it was a diplomatic catastrophe for the reasons I mentioned, but that's beyond the capacity of educated people to discuss or think about. Again, I urge you to look at the facts if you're interested. Now, a peace treaty with Egypt in 1971, which the U.S. and Israel rejected, that would have ended any significant security threat. There was none from the Palestinians, and Egypt is the major Arab military force by far. But there was an unacceptable quid pro quo. Sadat insisted that Israel abandon its extensive settlement programs in Egypt, namely in the northeastern Sinai. And as usual, security was a lower priority than expansion, as it still is. Today, Israel could have security, normalization of relations, integration into the region. But it very clearly prefers illegal expansion, conflict, repeated exercise of violence, to teach lessons to the two-legged beasts, actions that are severely eroding its security, even if it gains short-term military victory. One of the wisest voices in Israel, unfortunately a tiny minority, Uri Avneri, recently wrote that after an Israeli military victory in Gaza, what will be seared into the consciousness of the world will be the image of Israel as a blood-stained monster, ready at any moment to commit war crimes and not prepared to abide by any moral restraints. This will have severe consequences for our long-term future, our standing in the world, our chance of achieving peace and quiet. In the end, this war is a crime against ourselves too, a crime against the state of Israel. There's good reason to believe that he's right. If I can quote myself again, several decades ago, 30 years ago, I wrote that those who call themselves supporters of Israel are in reality supporters of its moral degeneration and its probable ultimate destruction. And regrettably, that judgment looks more and more plausible. Meanwhile, we're observing a very rare moment in history. It's what the late Israeli sociologist Baruch Kimmerling called politicide. It's the murder of a nation at our hands. Thanks.